Hey everybody, this is Coulton Woods and you're listening to Learning from the Experts. So here's the deal. I know how frustrating it is to waste countless hours sifting through wannabe experts who never actually help you in the end. Then to learn years later that there was a real expert who could have helped you 100 times faster than learning it on your own. I have created this podcast to save you time and money while taking you on a journey with me as I learn from real experts who can actually help you grow your business. My name is Coulton Woods, and you're listening to Learning from the Experts. Hey everybody, I'm so glad you joined me on my second episode here. I'm super grateful to have you, and I'm excited to kick this off. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about how I got started in business and how I epically failed at it and had no idea that there was so much more that I could have done. But obviously you learn from it, right? So, as I started college, I always had a really high interest in business. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to own my own business and kind of work for myself and make it happen. So my goal was to go into marketing and get a business degree through marketing. I didn't even know that they had an entrepreneurship degree at the time, which is what I ended up graduating in. But at the time, I'm trying to get a marketing degree, and I remember all these classes that I had to take, and none of them were teaching me business stuff, right? You have to take the foundations that kind of just give you your base foundation for life. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to take one business class at least a semester, even though I've got all these foundation classes. Who cares? I'll just take a business class and try to kick it off a little early, or as early as I could, So I took an online business class, and technically we were supposed to start a business online, but really we were supposed to start any kind of business and try to make any kind of money to get the grade. And so I remember racking my brain over this, what can I sell? What can I do? And all these ideas that I had, I just didn't have money for. I was a super poor college student. I didn't have money. We were living in the cheapest place we could find and trying to pay the bills, And so I remember all these ideas. I'm like, no, I can't do that. It costs too much. No, I can't do that. I don't have money for it. And I'm just killing myself over this idea. And one day I'm walking from one class to another, and it was cold outside, and I think I had a big coat on, and it's you're just trying to get from one class to the other and not be outside as much as possible. Well, I remember I was I need to check my phone, it vibrated or something, I got to see what that is. And so I go to pull my phone out, and as I pulled it out, I don't know if you've ever done this or not, but you kind of pull it out and it catches on your pocket or your jacket, and you end up flinging it as far as possible. It's almost you meant to throw it. And so that's kind of what I did. I pulled it out and somehow just threw it as far as I could in a way. And I just kind of watched it as it floated in the air and just kept floating in the air, and then just smashed on the front of it and slid for 20 feet on the concrete. And I don't know about you, but if you have ever done that, it's you just don't even want to pick it up because you just know it's demolished. And oh yeah. Anyways, if you haven't experienced that yet, good for you. But I just knew it was going to be totally toast. So I go over there and I'm like, oh man, if there's any way it could not be broken, it would be just a miracle, because I don't have money to pay somebody to fix it. And so, I'm just hoping, but I knew it was broken. I pick it up, and sure enough, the front of it is just shattered to pieces. I mean, there's not a little, I could barely see anything on there. It's just so shattered. And you can see where a scratch from just sliding for 20 feet. And I was like, man, I do not have money to fix this. You know, like I'm a poor college student. These things are expensive. And back then it was an iPhone 4. I don't know if you remember those, but they're like glass on the front and the back and the corners. So like no matter what you did, you just like broke it. Yeah, good times. So I was like, man, I need to fix this. Well, I really enjoyed taking things apart as a kid. I don't know why. My dad always thought it was weird because like I remember I bought a new paintball gun. I love paintballing. I bought a new paintball gun, and the first thing I did was take it home and I took it apart and like disassembled the entire thing just to see how it worked. Because I just like to know how things work. I don't know why. And I never had a problem taking things apart and putting them back together. I mean, it was just fine. I took it apart, put it back together, knew how it worked. And then that way, when I was paintballing and something went wrong, I knew how to fix it. I knew how to take care of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to fix this. I can do it. So I ordered a screen off like eBay or something, and it comes in, and sure enough, like, I mean, I had to watch like 20 YouTube videos just to try to like figure it out exactly. And I'm taking it apart, and I got like this little dinky screwdriver that the screen came with that's like half plastic, and yeah, it was just not good. And I have really big hands, and it's like a tiny screwdriver, so that probably wasn't the best idea anyway. And so I take it apart, and I mean, it took me like an hour and a half for sure. It took me so long just to pull it apart because I'm like being so careful because it's my phone, and if I screw it up, yeah, you know, it's my phone, I'm done. So I pulled it apart. I'm like having so much fun checking everything out, looking at it, seeing how things work, you know, just kind of seeing it. And I get it back together, and sure enough, it works. I'm like, holy cow, I just fixed this. And like, I learned so much about how the phone works and how it comes together. Like, I can fix these things. This is cool. And then I was like, oh, light bulb. I can do this for my business, for class. Right? I'd never broken a phone before that. I haven't even broken one since. So I don't know, like it just happened to happen at that time, and it worked out. And so I was like, this is my idea. I gotta like submit the idea like tomorrow for like what I'm gonna do anyway. So this is perfect. So this is what I'm gonna do. And so I got it all together. I bought a couple extra parts that I could afford because I couldn't afford a whole lot. And my teacher had like this local marketing business, and he's like, hey, you know what? I'll get you a little bit of exposure for cheap or for free, really. And I was like, sweet, like that'll be good. And so he kind of sent some stuff out, kind of got the word out a little bit for me. And sure enough, I started getting calls, and I like totally just like created a free Google Voice number so people could call me on that and wouldn't have my cell phone, you know? And so I got like a few calls from it. I was like shocked. I was like, this is sweet. And I would literally meet them. Like I was in an apartment complex. I would literally meet them in like the clubhouse. And I was like, hey, just meet me here. I'll meet you out in the clubhouse. This is where I live. I was like super open about it, you know? And, the first guy that I ever repaired anything for ended up being like my longest term customer, my best customer ever. It was crazy. I fixed a lot of his stuff. But like, I was super nervous. I'm like, he's like, yeah, my phone's broken. I'm like, oh, I got a part for that, you know? And he's like, okay, my iPod's broken. And I was like, okay, I got a part for that too, you know? He's like, cool, can you get it done right now? And I'm like, yeah, I can do it right now. And so I'm like literally like trying not to sweat bullets while I'm fixing this guy's phone and trying to like have a conversation with him and not act like I'm super nervous. And so it takes me a while. He's just hanging out. He's having a good time. I put it all together, and he's like, oh, dude, that looks good. Like, yeah, you did a good job. Here's your money. Here's your cash. And like, we'll see you later. And it's like, hey, you know what? Thanks so much for like, you know, bringing it in. And if you got any problems, you got any questions, just let me know. Like, I'm here to help, you know? And he was like, hey, I kind of like you. You know what? I got like 3 other broken devices at home. Do you want to fix those too? And I'm like, yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, let me order the parts for it. We'll get it fixed. And that was like the start of my phone and tablet and computer fixing business. In college, like my first year of college, So yeah, I was really excited, and yeah, I'll tell you more kind of the story of where it went after that. But essentially what I wanted to talk about is everything that I learned through YouTube. I learned it through like blogs and like just reading up. Like I really had to dive deep to learn all these things. And then whenever I had a problem or an issue, it was like crazy Google searching to try to figure out what was going on and what happened. And sometimes like I just happened to find this crazy weird thread that someone told or said something that ended up working for me, because there's a lot of issues that can come about working on phones. But what I noticed is a lot of the repairs that I would do, like the experts on YouTube, either one, they wouldn't like quite say everything or show it all of what you were really supposed to do in order to like make it a smooth repair. And I honestly, I think they did that so that they could get more business, because people would screw up their phones, thinking, oh, I can just do exactly what he's doing, but not look out for all these other little things that you had to just kind of know about. If you didn't, you could screw up a lot of stuff. And so I think, some people did that so that they could get more business and, get people sending questions in, and then hopefully just have them send the phone to them so they could fix it. And then two, I noticed that some experts just knew what they were doing so much that they didn't quite understand what they were doing in a way. Like they were, showing you how they were doing it, but they didn't realize that if you were new to this, you need to be taught how to do X, Y, and Z before you do it. But they just, they were so used to it that it didn't matter to them. Like it just kind of seemed like something small that you just wouldn't really even know, or that most people just kind of know about to them, And so I learned that it's just interesting because some people purposely don't tell you everything, and other people don't tell you everything just because they know it so well. They're so much of an expert in it. And it's amazing to me because as I would teach other people how to do it, like, employees that came in, I would literally first off, I'd do it in front of them and then have them ask any question they could. And then I would have them do it and then ask any question they could. There's such a big difference in questions when they are doing it versus when I do it and they're just watching. And when I'm not there, even when they're watching a YouTube video or reading about it, they're like, man, I don't understand this. And I'm like, oh, it's this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, yeah, totally. And so what I've realized is it's the same thing for online experts. For a lot of businesses, like there's so many books, there's so much material out there. And yes, a lot of them do give everything. They do give it all, but there's a huge difference in the environment that you're in, between reading a book and trying to apply it or think, just learn it through the book versus actually doing it and applying it and then having questions about certain things that you can't really find an answer for, or there's so many different answers from all these other wannabe experts that you just can't tell what is actually the real one. And so there's just a huge difference between the actual environment that you're learning in. And so I've just learned for myself that I can read a book, but if I applied it and actually was doing it while reading that book, it was just so much more into my, I just internalized it so much more. And then I've even realized that if I could have the expert with me as I'm going through these things, such as like a coach, it's even more applicable. It's even more insane how well it works. But what's interesting is in my business, what I didn't realize was I went through YouTube and I had learned everything I needed to in order to like make money through the labor side of my business, through actually just accomplishing the work. Whereas I didn't understand how important it was to understand the marketing side of my business to get people into the door so I could do the labor side or have somebody else do the labor side for me in my business. So that's also just something else to think about. What are you focusing your time on? Are you focusing on learning from actual real people or real experts that are going to help you grow your business, or you focus more in your business, working in your business instead of on your business? That's a big difference there. So what can you do? Where can you go? What can you learn? Where can you apply? What expert is out there that can help you 10x your business? I've been listening to a lot of Grant Cardone lately, and 10x has been like my vocabulary ever recently, just because of how much I've been listening to him. But that's kind of just what I have for you. Like, think about it and where you're at. And I hope that helps you guys. And if you want to check out some of the resources and tools and some of the experts that I have pre-approved, just head on over to learningfromtheexperts.com and check it out. Thank you very much, guys. Are you looking to jumpstart your business by learning or getting help from the real experts? Go to learningfromtheexperts.com to find pre-approved experts that I've handpicked for you. Please don't forget to let me know how I'm doing by subscribing, rating, and leaving feedback.